We've rolled into February, and we already have some massive news to talk about. The Dallas Mavericks have parted ways with Luka Doncic to send him to LA. Texas women's basketball has a gauntlet of a schedule coming up, and we are just 4 days away from watching the final game of football until next August. That's right, Super Bowl 59. Get ready because we're talking all of this out on the one and only College Crossfire.
All right, I'm going with classic, the 9-9-9. I'm going to do the 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings challenge.
Need I say more? Need I say more? Need I say more at all?
From Costco specifically, I'm going to take 2 double chunk chocolate cookies, ice cream sandwich, but it's fried.
It's about to get hot in here, folks.
It's about to get hot. A very exciting show in store for you. It's our second episode of the semester and our final episode leading up to the Super Bowl. There's no doubt this is going to be a fun one, but as always, before we begin, I want to tell you this show is brought to you by Cap Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between, so plan your ride to this weekend's game at capmetro.org. We also have another huge announcement to make before we get into tonight's show. Today is National Women in Sports Day. We want to thank all our fellow women in TSTV Sports who work so hard to make our department as fun and great as it is. And we also want to thank all the women in sports beyond TSTV. We are so proud of you all and the way y'all have helped make our favorite sports in the world grow and make it so much fun to watch and play. So thank you and keep up the hard work. Today is for you. So starting off with today's show, we cannot get into it without introducing our contestants. On first base, we have last week's champion, Dallas native to Austin resident, a Dallas all-around sports fan. We have our very own Nolan Clay. Nolan, how's it going?
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you, I'm hurt. I'm hurt a lot. That Luka trade broke me a lot. So for that reason, I'm gonna dedicate this show to him tonight. Can you hold this for me for just 1 second? We got the Luka jersey.
It's out of date, but okay.
We're wearing this one tonight for Luka Doncic.
Giving a salute to Luka Doncic instead of putting it in the rafters, you're putting the jersey on. I see. So full on support here. Mm-hmm. We feel for the Dallas fans. We know it's been a rough week for them, but who knows? Maybe there's a silver lining in this with Anthony Davis coming to the team. Who knows?
We gotta hope.
On second base, we have Houston native, an all-out Rockets, Astros, Texans, Dynamo fan, maybe? It's our very own Tyler Strempel.
Well, that was sad. That was sad, and I feel for the sports fans who lose big, players in trades. I've been there a couple times, especially with general management being not so great. So feeling for you, but not really. Excited to be here, get a first win, and be a fan of a team that doesn't have a crappy general manager.
There are a ton of members of TSTV Sports who are Dallas and Houston fans. I think the majority of them are of those two fan bases. But I think this might be one of the first or few episodes where we have a completely all Dallas sports fan taking on an all Houston sports fan. This is going to be pretty exciting and fun to watch. But we also have a third contestant, a TSTV Sports newcomer making his debut tonight. He is a Texas Longhorns fan at heart, but he grew up watching the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he's a Bengals fan. He's got some Ohio roots in him. Everyone, welcome on Luke Lawhorn.
Thank you, Robert. I have to clear that up. Do not have any ounce of Longhorn fan in me at all. In fact, I think I'm extra horns down. But excited to be on here for my first episode. Excited to talk about the Super Bowl and all these trades. Let's get into it.
That should be like minus 10 points.
Just immediately gone.
I know we're all just neutral sports journalists at TSTV Sports, but I think you can root for the school you go to, and I think we all do that in putting up the burnt orange horns up. I think that's a first, but you see something new every day. So we've got a very fun and interesting lineup here tonight. It's time to get right into it because there's a lot to talk about. So if anyone new is tuning in, I need to review tonight's rules in case they've never watched an episode before. There are going to be 3 rounds with each one containing 3 questions. I'm going to dish out points to who I believe is the best answer in the order of 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point. And at the end of the 3 rounds, at the end of the final round rapid fire, the person with the most points gets to come back on for next week's show. Hence, Nolan is our returning champion for this week. He won last week. Also, in this rapid fire round, round 3, the points will be double, and y'all do not know what those questions will be yet, so y'all are going to have to think on your feet and come up with the best possible answer. That's what always makes it exciting, because someone can come back from last place and win the whole thing. Now that we've reviewed the rules, let the episode begin. So we're wasting no time in starting off tonight's show really hot, the trade. Late Saturday night, the Dallas Mavericks traded their beloved superstar Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2026 first-round pick. There is a ton of anger floating about this Dallas fan base right now. So with that being said, what will the short-term and long-term effects of this trade be for both teams? Nolan, start this one off.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the short term first, I think both teams actually get worse in the short term. I look at the Lakers right now. Their defense, Anthony Davis anchored that defense. Luka Doncic is not known for his defense. And, you look at that, they don't really have a center, at least for right now. And that's bad. And the Mavs, they have one creator. They have one guy who can create on offense right now, and that's Kyrie Irving. And in the long term, the Mavs are screwed. AD and Kyrie are 31 and 32. They don't have many first-round picks in the future. They traded a lot of those to get Kyrie and other guys, PJ, Gafford. And, the Lakers, they got their next superstar, the face of the franchise, for the next decade, who they can build around. People are going to want to flock to L.A. to play with him. He's going to be their next Kobe Bryant. So, yeah, I mean, L.A. is set for the future.
Going with both teams, short term, not very good. LA on the long term, they might be good, because they have a new star and he's not old at all. So it'll be interesting. Tyler?
Okay, I'm going to go with kind of a different thing here. Obviously, I think the Lakers have improved their offense just a little bit. The Lakers already had what was top 7 offense in the league according to BPI. Luka is obviously going to help anchor that. I'm going to go with a different direction. I think, yes, the long term, the Mavs are screwed. They're gonna get rid of old people. They're giving away draft picks. They have 3 draft picks in 3 years. It's not a great thing. But short term, I actually don't think this is the worst move ever, because the Mavs defense is atrocious. Anthony Davis is going to help bring that up. Anthony Davis is averaging 26, 12, and 3 on the year so far. So that offense, when they leave, it's going to be bad. But in the current, I think the offense is going to be just a little bit worse, but possibly the same. Having 2 people like LeBron and Luka is going to be good for the Lakers. Having a face of the franchise from LeBron is going to, I think, short term fine, long term not fine for Mavs. Lakers are good.
Yeah, so it's just like the Mavs, they played their first game last night. AD did not play, but it's going to be interesting because, they struggled on defense. Now they have someone who can actually, help them improve that. And while people don't like the trade, this could be helpful for them in the short term. Luke?
So I think the Lakers win both short-term and long-term. I mean, the Mavs coming into, I think yesterday, were 14th in the NBA in defense, and they obviously just got better on the defensive side. They have Anthony Davis, Max Christie. But with older players, their future's kind of unknown after this season, and they're already just trying to fight their way just for a play-in spot. The Lakers are 2 games clear of a 5 seed, so I know the West is tight, but now with Luka coming, and I assume a couple games, that should propel them to, fight for a home court game in the playoffs. And the West, I mean, I know the Thunder have a big gap. They're leading everybody. But after that, it's pretty tight. So after the Thunder and the Nuggets, I think the Lakers can not only compete for a deep playoff run this year, but now they have Luka and they're set for the next decade.
Yeah, interesting takes right there. I'm going to have to give this one to Mr. Tyler Strempel. I do think the Mavs they're in pretty bad shape for the next decade. They do get better on defense right now, but I don't understand why you would give up a pretty young. He's pretty young. Star phenom player for another star who's much older than Luka. And Kyrie, he's already pretty old too. Klay Thompson's pretty old. Long term, we don't know how the Mavs are going to be, and it doesn't look too bright. I'm going to have to give this 2 to Nolan right here, because Nolan, you talk about the Lakers bringing on a player who can create more offensive awareness, but they lose the defensive edge that they had with Anthony Davis, so it's going to be tough. And then I like how you brought up the standings with the Mavericks, Luke. It's going to be interesting how the Western Conference plays out, but short term, it's not looking so hot for the Mavs. 3, 2, 1 down the middle. Great answers from so far from that first question. Staying with the NBA right here, tomorrow's the trade deadline. We have until 2 p.m. local time for any team to try and make any necessary move that will help boost their winning resume. Outside of the chaos from the Luka AD trade, which other major trade needs to happen and will happen, and tell me why? Tyler?
Okay, so this is kind of a new answer because it may or may not have been affected by the trade that went down about an hour and a half ago. But I'm looking for a team that needs to rebuild and that has a player that's way too good for their team. And I'm going to New Orleans. I think C.J. McCollum needs to lead that team. I'm going to go with him going to Detroit. Cade Cunningham is the only reason that they're competing right now. He needs help on offense. In return, however, I think that they would give away – I'm going to give them Tobias Harris and I'm going to give them Marcus Sasser. Tobias Harris – competent on offense, a good veteran presence for anyone new that comes in. Marcus Sasser hasn't had a lot of time as a starter, but at Houston he was offensively competent, good on defense, both things that New Orleans is just terrible at, a young piece that they can use to rebuild. And then Detroit gets more wins, a better help. Cade Cunningham needs help.
It's a pretty balanced trade you bring up right there, and the young development of Marcus Sasser brings definitely a new side of, offensive creativity to the team. Luke?
So this point kind of bounces off my initial point. I think the Lakers need to go out and get a center, and I think a guy that fits that bill perfectly will be Jakob Poeltl from the Toronto Raptors. He's a 14-10 guy, and I used to watch him closely covering the Spurs the last couple of years before he got traded. And I think that he would fill that void that AD, he took with him to Dallas. I think that with Jakob Poeltl there, the Lakers can still fight for, like I was saying, a 3 through 6 seed in the playoffs, and he can really help that team go on a deep playoff run, try to give LeBron one last hurrah. He's arguably a top 7-8 player right now. So this is his last best chance. I believe with Jakob Poeltl, that'll help the team make a deeper playoff run.
Jakob Poeltl definitely would add to that height and defensive help the Lakers really need right now. Yes, they just got Luka, but they also gave up some big size on their team. They're in need of a big man. Nolan?
Yeah, I actually like the Jakob Poeltl answer a lot, but I'm gonna stick with the Lakers. I'm gonna stick with the center position, but I think this guy will be a little bit better fit for the Lakers. I'm going Miles Turner. He can rim protect, 16 points per game, 40% from three-point range this season. That's really impressive for a center. 2 blocks per game. He's the perfect center who can just give you rim protection, who can stretch the floor, shoot some threes. Right now they're rocking with Jackson Hayes, Maxi Kleber, stretch 5. Miles Turner brings that stretch 5, but he can shoot, but he can also rim protect with the best of them. And I just think, also physically, he's just better than Maxi Kleber. He's had a lot of injuries a little bit lately. So I like Miles Turner a lot for that Lakers, and I think that's going to help them so much.
Nolan and Luke, I think y'all both want to hit the nail on the head with this one. I like Miles Turner a little bit more just because of the experience he has, but wouldn't it be cool to see Jackson Hayes and Miles Turner, 2 former Texas Longhorns, putting up, just that defensive front for the Lakers over in Los Angeles? And, Miles Turner, huge Lego fan, huge Star Wars fan. I say that because he loves to show his personality off the court, and kind of that's his way of selling a brand. Great, awesome, cool player to follow. You'll get the 3 on this one. Luke, you get the 2. Tyler, I like your answer 2. You'll get the 1. All right. Moving on to the final question of our first block, Texas women's basketball begins a very tough 4-game stretch tomorrow when they play ranked Vanderbilt. Luckily for them, 3 of these games are at home, including Sunday's matchup against South Carolina. What adjustments from their last matchup with Dawn Staley's team does Texas need to make in order to win this time around? Luke, begin this one.
Going back and watching that game, it was pretty evident that South Carolina, they just blew Texas out of the game right off the bat. I mean, they outscored Texas 39-22 in the first half and shot 71% from the floor in the first half. Madison Booker, Texas' best player, she had 7 points total, was 1 from 14 from the floor in the first half. So the key is she's going to have to, stay her consistent self. Try to get 10 points in the first half. Don't let South Carolina run you out of the building in those first 24 minutes. Try to stay in it. Let Madison Booker cook. Stay in it in the third, fourth quarter, and hopefully Texas by then will be 13-0 at home. So the home court advantage plus Madison Booker playing back to her level should be the key difference in the game.
If Texas's biggest, most talented players don't show up in this game, they're going to have a tough time, as they've had a lot of close games all season. But they are playing at home, like you said, and they haven't lost yet. Nolan?
Yeah, I look at South Carolina. Their defense is really impressive. They're only giving up 56 points per game on the season. Texas really struggled. They only scored about 50 points against South Carolina. They forced South Carolina with 22 turnovers. South Carolina had 22 turnovers when they played. They had 3 fast break points the whole game. Usually fast break, you want to usually when you get turnovers, you want to get on the fast break real quick, get the ball up the court, catch South Carolina out of position on defense. They weren't able to do that, even though they forced 22 turnovers. You have got to get on the fast break. You got to get moving. You got to catch South Carolina out of position, and that's how you're going to score on them. Because when they get their defense set, it's going to be so hard to score against them. So that's what I look at when I watch the last game, and I think Texas can do that. I like their chances a lot.
Limiting turnovers is huge for them, especially when you put up double-digit ones the first time around. I mean, this is the biggest game on your schedule. You can't just show up like Texas football showed up against Georgia the first time they played this season. If you're going to show up and play a big team, you better act like you're the big team too if you have a chance to win. And double-digit turnovers, it's not the way to do it. Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, great points all around in terms of what South Carolina was able to do. And Texas women's basketball has been starting slow as of the past couple games, but I want to turn back to the Tennessee win, which was their last ranked win. And what they were able to do against what was a very high-powered offense was play in a way that made their offense uncomfortable. Don't let them get open shots. Cause them to have to move the ball over so much that you force a turnover. But I also want to look at the Texas offense. Madison Booker had a bad game. Taylor Jones had a bad game. Rory Harmon had a bad game against South Carolina, but what has been working for the Longhorns recently is anchoring Jones in the paint, letting her get the rebounds. She has had the most off-rebound points of the past couple games. Keep her in there. Let Texas' offense score in a way that makes South Carolina's defense uncomfortable. Run the offense through Rory Harmon like we have been lately, like Texas has been lately. Make sure Madison Booker gets an open shot. If you can make South Carolina uncomfortable, you can win that game.
I think by far what has been working for Texas women's basketball these past few games is their ability to feed Taylor Jones the ball. She's just put on a highlight reel of being able to get offensive rebounds and put those shots back up. I like that answer the most. Tyler, you're going to get the 3 on this one. I think limiting turnovers, that's a very tangible adjustment that they can make to win this game. Yes, Madison Booker needs to play well, but as long as she is herself, Texas will have a chance. But what can they do what can they do defensively to stop South Carolina from scoring? I like all those answers around 3, 2, 1 down the line. Great first block. That's going to wrap it up for Texas women's basketball and just overall professional basketball with the NBA and the Luka trade. When we come back, we're going to be talking the Super Bowl. So don't go anywhere. We have the biggest football game of the year to talk about. College Crossfire is going to return in just a sec. Welcome back into College Crossfire. Overall, some great answers from our contestants so far. Nolan Clay and Tyler Strempel are tied at 7. Luke Lawhorn's right behind them with 4. But this is still anyone's game. We have 2 blocks left, and this is all for the taking. So let's jump right into it with the biggest football game of the year. So, moving now to the gridiron, the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59 on Sunday. Philly is favored in this game, but we all know Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are known to come through in the clutch. Who is going to win this game and why? Very basic question tonight, but it's the Super Bowl, so I'll give you all that. Who is going to win?
I think that it's very hard to say it's not going to be the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs pull it off and become the first team in the Super Bowl era to three-peat. And it all just comes down to who has the best coach, oh, it's the Chiefs. Who has the best defense, oh, it's the Chiefs. Who has the best quarterback, it's the Chiefs. I think this game, the Philly has a slim chance to win, and that's going to be Jalen Hurts has to play, keep up with the Chiefs' offense, and he has to play perfect. I know he did 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, but he did that and they still lost. So I find it hard for Philly. The Chiefs' biggest weakness on defense has been covering tight ends. So if Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert can kind of expose that, maybe Philly has a chance there. But also the Chiefs have been underdogs I think 6 or 7 times in the last 3 postseasons. This is another reason I think the Chiefs will three-peat.
Like you said, best quarterback, best coach, just best. I think they have the best record right now. Yeah, because they went on that 8-0 winning streak at the very beginning of the season. They have the best keys to. Needless to say, they have the best keys to win. And if the Eagles want to have a shot, Jalen Hurts has to play like he did 2 years ago, like you mentioned right there. Tyler?
I'm going to disagree a little bit. I'm going to call the Eagles, and it's very hard to call against the Chiefs, but I think if there's any team that can stop the Chiefs, it is the Eagles, and I have a couple of reasons why. The Eagles had the #1 defense total in the season. It's really hard to win against that good of a defense. Other teams are 3-11 in Super Bowl history when the #1 regular season defense has played them. Saquon Barkley is now a part of this Eagles team, meaning Hurts actually has less pressure on him to perform like he did in the last Super Bowl. It's a diversified offense. He can throw it to Brown. He could throw it to Smith. He could throw it to Goddard. He could throw it to Saquon. He could run it with Saquon. There's so many routes that the Eagles offense can take, and I think it's honestly net more than what the Chiefs can do. I think if there's any team that can stop the Chiefs, it is the #1 defense and a very diverse offense that has proven to not fall off every year like the Eagles usually do. It has been a very stable Eagles team, and I think they have what it takes to take the Chiefs down.
Talk about spreading out what you can do on offense. We said this Eagles team is really good, and Luke and I were talking about how good Jalen Hurts needs to play. Like he needs to practically match his performance from the last 2 years. But they have Saquon now that maybe takes some weight off his shoulders. So interesting to see what will happen. Nolan.
Yeah, when I look at these two teams, in terms of the Super Bowl matchups, this might be one of the best that we've ever seen in recent memory. Eagles, Chiefs, the 2 best players in the world, in my opinion, Saquon Barkley and Patrick Mahomes. You got 2 elite defenses, offensive star power all around the field. It's such a tough one to look at. I think the easiest bet this game is going to be super close. It's going to come down to the wire. And I look at the 2 quarterbacks. I look at Jalen Hurts. I look at Patrick Mahomes. Who is going to step up late in the game and lead their team on a game-winning drive? It's going to be Patrick Mahomes, man. Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback, but Patrick Mahomes is on track to become the GOAT. Patrick Mahomes is maybe the most clutch QB we've ever seen, and I can't pick anyone over him if the game is tight at the end of the game. I think the Chiefs are going to three-peat, and Patrick Mahomes is going to lead their team to victory.
It's interesting because I don't see this game happening without the scenario where Kansas City is within 1 score. Maybe they're ahead or behind, but I don't see a scenario where they're not within 1 score with about 2 minutes to go. So with that being said, Kansas City, they've always been clutch. They've come up in the clutch moments, and Mahomes is known for doing that. But there's also a lot of special talk about the Eagles' defense right now, and maybe they could have their clutch moment. So I think, in their ability to perform through 4 quarters, not just the clutch moments with Mahomes, I think Jalen Hurts has the chance to win this game. However, I think Saquon Barkley adds a lot of creativity to this offense, and Barkley, Hurts, and the defense combined gives the Eagles the best chance to win. Tyler, you hit the nail on the head there. You're going to get the 3 on this one as you talked about Barkley. You talked about Jalen Hurts and his ability to kind of perform all throughout 4 quarters. I think that's going to be necessary for the Eagles if they want to win this game. And it's not just all going to deal with the clutch moment. You'll get the 2 on this one, Luke. Nolan the 1. But it's going to be a very interesting game. I think we all say we're not super excited about this matchup because we've seen it before. I think we will be excited come 2 hours before game time. So there are many strong AFC teams who are just 1 or 2 pieces short from beating the Chiefs. The playoffs, regardless of whether the Chiefs win or lose this game, regardless if they win. Let's say Mahomes wins. He's in the GOAT debate conversation. He's in the like much more than his footing is there much more than it was before this game. Regardless if the Chiefs win or lose, who is the team that could take down the Chiefs after, and are the Chiefs done? Is their dynasty done after this, regardless if they win or lose this game?
Okay, yeah. I think there's a team that's going to beat the Chiefs next season. I'm not going to say that their dynasty is going to be over. It's really hard to end a dynasty. You could have a huge break in between and still be great. I mean, look at the Patriots. They won a bunch, had like 10 years, won another more. But I think there's one team that if they make the right moves in the offseason can finally knock the Chiefs down, and it's the Buffalo Bills. And here's why I'm going to say that. I'm going to go first on Kansas City. They're losing 2 wide receivers. They're losing Hopkins. They're losing Brown. That automatically undiversifies your offense a fair bit. Kelsey's getting older. We've already seen his production dip a little bit. So when you have Worthy and Pacheco as your only options, plus I guess Mahomes' legs, it's not great. Also, there are 2 trade candidates that Buffalo is probably going to go after, and if they get one of them, it fixes one of their main problems from the AFC Championship game. It's either going to be Cooper Kupp or Myles Garrett. If they do one of those 2 things, I think they finally have the power to either overpower Kansas City's offense or stop them, depending on which one they do. I think it's just the best answer that the most well-rounded team right now, besides the Chiefs and the AFC, 1 or 2 pieces, they can finally beat them.
We talked about Mahomes coming up in the clutchest moments in the last question. I feel like the Bills have been there. We all know they've been there multiple times, and that's just the hump that they can't get over yet. Nolan?
Yeah, look, I thought about this a long time. I thought about going with the Bills. I love Josh Allen. He's my pick for the MVP this year if I had a vote. I just don't know if they can do it, man. Like the Chiefs have just beaten them over and over again in the playoffs, and it's got to be a mental thing at this point. Like going to Arrowhead, like even just playing in Buffalo, like in the playoffs. Like, can they get over the hump over the Chiefs? Can they beat Mahomes? Can they beat Spagnuolo, who's like a mastermind in the playoffs with the blitzes he sent against Josh Allen? It's absolutely incredible. So, I do not believe that the Bills can beat Mahomes. I don't think anyone can beat Mahomes in the playoffs. I think he will be the greatest QB of all time when it's all said and done. And I just think I don't see anyone beating the Chiefs as long as he and Spagnuolo are there. Like, it's tough, and man, that roster's still good too. So, no, I gotta go with the Chiefs, man.
So as long as the pieces are together, the Chiefs are here to stay. Luke?
Well, the Chiefs dynasty itself is far from over. Patrick Mahomes will be there at playing at this level for at least another 8 to 10 years. So it's hard to say that it's over. But there's going to be a team that beats him next year. It's going to be the team that we were showing on the preview while you were bringing up this question. It's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, the team that's already done it, and that's poised to do it again. I know they missed the playoffs this year, but every single loss and every game they have against the Chiefs, it's a close game. You could say the Bills can't do it because of the mental block there, but the Bengals have it in their heads that, I can beat this team and in your building too. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, I only feel like are going to get better, only in their mid-20s. I think Joe Burrow's 26. And, the Chiefs are not going to win 4 in a row. Somebody's got to beat them. And you're saying the Bills, but the Bills can't even beat the Bengals. So I feel like they have 2 teams to get over. I think Baltimore will come back heavy. But if I had to pick one team next year to win, or dethrone the Chiefs, I should say, it's going to be the Bengals. They've already done it, and I'm sure they're going to do it again.
Those are all 3 great answers. Chiefs here to stay, the Bills and the Bengals. But there are 2 teams that could have put, if either of the 3 y'all said, that could have put your probability of getting the 3 much higher than the other two. And those two teams are Ryan Swankowski's in the audience. He may not like this one, but the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. You do like that other team, though. No bias aside, C.J. Stroud and Stephon Diggs is going to come back for another year.
Oh, no.
But needless to say, I have to go of the 3 teams y'all mentioned. I think this is gonna be hard. I don't think the Chiefs will always be here, but they've just slipped by barely slipped by so many times. I have to go with the Bengals because I don't know if the Bills can get over the hump right now. I'm gonna go give Luke the 3 right here with Jamar Chase, Jamar Chase, not Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, what they can do, and they've done it before. The Bills, they've showed so much promise every season, but I don't know if they can get over that hump. It's sort of, I'm going to put it into a sad Houston fan, it's sort of, can James Harden in his era of the Rockets get to the NBA Finals?
Don't do that.
Can Rory McIlroy win the Masters? It's one of those.
He's going to win it this year.
Ever do something like that. 3, 2, 1 down the middle. Y'all made that one hard for me, but Tyler will get the 2 on that one. Chiefs, they'll be around. I don't know how much they can.
Did the Cavs
We'll
beat
see.
the Warriors? Did the Cavs beat the Warriors?
Hey, let's move
We're
on.
going on and rambling here. We got to get to our last question of the block. The Reese's Senior Bowl and East-West Shrine Bowl both took place this past weekend, giving former college football players a chance to showcase their talent in front of NFL scouts. While there are many star prospects who opted out because they clearly don't need to display any more of their talent and risk getting hurt, which player improved his draft stock the most from either game this past weekend? Nolan?
Yeah, for me, this one was really easy. Look at it. It's Jackson Dart, man. Jackson Dart had a great week of practices. You know, people were like skeptical about his arm strength going into the Senior Bowl, and he really impressed scouts this week. And he also, during the game, he showed off his legs like he did during the season with the rushing touchdown. He had a big throw to Jack Beck, who won the MVP of the Senior Bowl. Shout out to him. And yeah, people are saying he could be in the first round now, like the 3rd QB taken off the board. Like in a weak draft class, like he had the ability to move up the draft stock so much during this, and he did, man. And like a first round pick for Jackson Dart, like who would have thought that about a couple weeks ago? Like no one. So I think, you know, he might not get that first round, but like his stocks are going up really high. So I think it's got to be Jackson Dart for this pick. Yeah.
You know, ever since his bowl game win, where Ole Miss just dominated, was it Memphis they played? I think it was Memphis. Ever since that win and just what we've been hearing from scouts and his performance this past week in Mobile, he's been sort of a quiet riser. You know, like he's making noise, but he's not like a huge talk right now. And Jackson Dart, you know, he's making a case for himself. Luke?
Seeing and reading everything from the Reese's Senior Bowl, Jackson Dart, you know, he's been trending up. And, of course, like you said, you know, now he might jump into the first round. But coming into the season, I'm pretty sure he was renowned like he's going to be a mid-round draft pick. If I'm breaking the rules a little and going outside of someone who didn't play this game even though was invited, I think there's only one answer who increases draft stock the most over the season. That's Will Howard, the guy who entering the playoff I heard was the worst quarterback in the playoff. He's going to be the reason the Buckeyes don't get over the top. But now he went from, you know, being someone who's not going to be in the draft at all, he's going to hold the team back, to now he's, you know, going to be a 3rd, 4th round pick. So even though he didn't play in the Senior Bowl, I think that the run that he's been on, you know, he's playing with other NFL guys in an NFL system with Chip Kelly. He's shown that he's NFL ready, and I believe that before the season he was, you know, not projected not to be in the draft. Now he's going to be a 3rd, 4th round pick.
Will Howard, you know, leading a national championship team all the way, and now he's sneaking his name into the conversation of, you know, where could he fall in the draft? Tyler?
Going back to what the topic of the question was, I'm going to go with something. Nolan kind of touched on this. It was the guy who caught the game-winning touchdown. It was the guy who had 6 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. It was TCU wide receiver Jack Beck. You have teams looking for a wide receiver 2 It is this guy. He had 64, was it 64? 62 receptions, 1,034 yards, 9 touchdowns, and a 1.1% drop rate this year in the regular season. Those are stats you dream of when you're in like the late second, early third round trying to find a wide receiver to support your star. That's what you dream about. And this game was great for him. Making catches, showing his hands, showing his openness, ability to get open on plays, and showing that clutch gene to be able to catch that game-winning touchdown to win it for the American team. Just a great showing. It probably raised his draft stock from like third round to second round, which doesn't seem like a lot in terms of numbers, but third to second in an NFL draft is very big because it dictates money. It dictates where you are on the roster. I think a wide receiver 2 for Jack Beck is not a thing you don't expect from this game.
Y'all made this one extremely hard again. Jack Beck, the game-winning touchdown, that was really cool to see. You know, with the tragedy that his family faced from the New Orleans accident. I mean, that was just really heartwarming to see Jack Beck, you know, have that special moment. But the way he played in practice, I think he was the best wide receiver in one-on-ones on that Monday to Senior Bowl, and then he only kept it up. I have to give the 3 to you, Tyler, on this one. I do think Jack Beck did. I don't know if he'll be a second-round pick, but he did raise his stock. Nolan, you're going to get the 2 on this one. I think Jackson Dart by far had the best quarterback play of the entire Senior Bowl and the whole weekend, and I think he's increasing his draft stock the most right now out of any quarterback. Y'all made that one extremely hard. The one right there, we'll see how well Will Howard will do at his pro day in the combine. We'll see if he's going to the combine. It's a good pick, but I think it's either Jack Beck or Jackson Dart who raised their stock the most right there. I have to give this one to Beck. But that's some great answers all around. That's going to wrap it up on the second 2 blocks. Always fun to listen in and score everyone's answers, especially when there's so much to talk about right now with just professional sports and Texas athletics. That's going to wrap things up for the first 2 blocks. When we get back, rapid hot fire, double the points, double the pressure. It's about to get hot. So stay tuned. We're coming right back. Welcome back into college Crossfire. We have a close matchup right now. So as we begin rapid fire, we had some technical difficulties right there as I have a new microphone. But as we begin rapid fire, our scores are Nolan Clay has 11, Tyler Strempel has 15, and Luke Lawhorn has 10. So this is still anyone's game. This is double the points. If you win right now, all 3 questions, you're going to outright win the game. You have a chance to take home a whole 18 points right here if you go 1, 2, 3 down the line. So let's get right into it. Today is a very special and important day, National Women in Sports Day, a day where we can dedicate our appreciation and love for the women who have grown sports on and off the field over the years and the hard work that they have put in and their dedication to progressing the games that we all love. We also want to give a shout out to our women in TSTV sports. Y'all are always killing it. So in honor of today, I would like our 3 contestants to give their picks for the 3 greatest female athletes of all time. I think Tyler raised his hand first.
Okay, so I'm going to go with a sort of, it's not going to be your first thought. It's going to be kind of an older thought. I'm going to go with one of the people who made women's basketball watchable as it was, created the WNBA, made it what it is today. Cheryl Swoops of the Houston Comets, winning 4 WNBA titles, multiple. Cheryl Swoops. Thank you, Colin.
Wait, top 3.
Oh, top 3. Cheryl Swoops, Serena Williams, and I'll go Venus because they're both really good.
I will also go Serena Williams, no doubt she's on there. Katie Ledecky, I'll go number 2, and then I will go, shoot, her name just slipped my mind, but Simone Biles. I feel like that has to be the top 3.
That's a good one.
Yeah, my top 3 got to be number 3. It's got to be Katie Ledecky. Number 2, I got to go Serena Williams. And number 1 for me is Simone Biles. She's absolutely incredible. So it's, I think, same, different order. But yeah.
You had Serena, Katie, Simone.
Yes.
You had Serena, Katie, Simone.
No,
You had
Katie, Serena, Simone.
Katie, Serena, Simone. All right. So there's so many great female athletes out there. It's just so hard to pick the top 3. But we wanted to give a special shout out to this holiday and the wonderful women who have grown our sports over the years. As we talked about earlier tonight, Super Bowl Sunday is this weekend. There have been many teams and players who have lost this game by either putting up a great performance or just by losing because they did not play well at all. Which current or former NFL player has put up the best performance in a Super Bowl loss and why? Nolan, I see your hand up first.
Yeah. I'm definitely going with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl versus the Eagles when Nick Foles won. Tom Brady, I can't remember the stats, but I think he had like 400 yards passing. He had like a lot of touchdowns. That was a shootout. Tom Brady played his heart out that game, and Nick Foles and the Eagles just beat him out. But Tom Brady was not the reason the Patriots lost that game.
Tom Brady, that's a great answer for that Super Bowl. I mean, he broke the all-time passing yards in a game for that one, for a Super Bowl or playoff game. But if I can't use that one, I'll use the Jalen Hurts game from 2 years ago. I mean, if it wasn't for that one fumble that honestly was the only fault from that team and what probably was the difference in the game, he played perfect. I can't remember the exact number of yards he had, but he put his team in position to win that game.
Okay, I'm going to go controversial pick number 2 because everyone associates him with the choke, but I think it was the defense that choked more than he did. Matt Ryan, Super Bowl in 2016. 28-3 is a crazy stat to be at halftime. It was the Falcons' defense that choked, and when your defense chokes, it's hard for an offense to have a mindset of winning. Matt Ryan did everything he possibly could to get Atlanta a championship. Without him, it would have been a blowout.
Those are all 3 some good answers. It's really hard to, judge those because, they all lost the game. But that just comes with the question I asked. All right, rounding it out tonight, our final question, and this one could very well decide the whole entire show and who gets to come on next week. I'm going to ramble on this one a little bit. I know we're pressed for time, but this is a very important one. Sticking with the Super Bowl here, regardless of how intently you've watched the NFL this season, there's a good chance that come kickoff time, you're going to stop what you're doing, meet up with some friends or family, and find an empty spot on the couch. Sure, the Chiefs are on their way to bring home their the NFL's first three-peat for a Super Bowl ever. That could happen. Mahomes could certainly turn the tides on the GOAT conversation. Jalen Hurts could take down the Chiefs with Saquon Barkley. Yeah, those are all crazy narratives and fun ones to follow. But what really matters most, which game day food or snack is second to none when it comes to watching the big showdown? I've made a little graphic right here if y'all want to scroll right there. But that's up there. There's a lot to choose from. You don't have to choose one on there, but I give you some inspiration.
Good
Yeah, it's gotta be wings. Wings are the goat. Wings are the goat for watching football. You can't beat wings. It just tastes so good. You just a perfect handheld food. Gets a little messy, but that's part of the fun of it, right? You know, so it's gotta be wings, undisputed.
What a basic answer that just
Well, yeah,
was.
but
I
that's
mean,
the best.
that doesn't mean anything. You know
Oh,
what the
no,
best
okay.
food is? The one you could stand up at the kitchen island or
wanna
anywhere you
stand?
want to. Yes, I do want to stand. Thank you
No,
for interjecting.
I think you don't want to stand.
It's the one you can, it's so versatile. You can do so many things with it. Chips and dip. How many dips can you make for a Super Bowl? 7-layer, 5-layer, buffalo chicken, French onion.
Sit down.
All of your dips, you could just eat your chips wherever you want to. It's not that messy. You have so many different options, and you just start, you don't have to think about eating. You think about the game, you just start putting chips in your mouth. It's the best thing ever.
Are we going with classic, just like Tostitos chips, not flavored like Doritos? Normal chips. It's a great answer too.
Do you want me to get specific?
Yeah.
I mean, I could. I mean, I think the most versatile chip in this is Ruffles.
Obviously, I think wings is the best thing for a Super Bowl party, but if you can't have that, I feel like you can never, ever go wrong with pizza. I feel like pizza, it's a hit from, your little brother all the way to your old grandma. Everybody loves a good slice of pizza, 8 slices per box. Get 3 or 4 of those, you're set for the game.
Those are all 3 solid answers. First off, before I shout out tonight's winner, I want to give another shout out. You said chips and dips. Shout out to Ryan Swankowski in the audience who makes his famous buffalo chicken dip, right? There you go. If you haven't had that yet, you want to go meet this man and have him whip it up for you before a big sporting event you're going to watch on TV. Shout out to him. But there can only be one winner on tonight's show. Can we get a drum roll, please? With 27 points to start the semester, we have a back-to-back champion, Nolan Clay.
Go! Let's go!
Do we have time for FaceTime?
We do. All right, so we're dedicating this one to Luka Doncic, man. This one's for you. Dallas, this is for you. The whole city of Dallas. This makes everyone feel so much better. I know everyone, the streets of Dallas are going to be celebrating because Nolan Clay just won Crossfire. This one's for you, Dallas. Dallas, let's go.
There you have it right there. A huge Dallas fan. He may have lost on Saturday night, but he did win tonight. That's going to wrap things up for TSTV. Thank you to everyone who makes this show possible, from the contestants to the in-studio personnel and the people in master control, especially our executive producer, Tyler Moss, and Grabiel Silva, our associate producer. And to you, the audience, thanks for watching. Remember to tune into our other shows, 1-0 on Friday and College Press Box on Tuesday. Signing off from the studio, I'm your host, Robert Gonsolin, and have a good night.